Hi, this is Andrea Haynes again, and this is my second YouTube video for my channel, This is Life. And today I'm going to be talking about homeschooling. So I'm going to be sharing some tips and ideas of how to make this a more comfortable experience for families. I know right now we're in the middle of a pandemic and a lot of families this decision to homeschool hasn't really been their decision, it's been thrust upon them, and so people I think are kind of trying to figure this out and what to do and how to make it work and not pull their hair out. So I'm going to share some things today to hopefully help with that. I have 14 years experience with homeschooling, and I've homeschooled my 5 children. So I do feel like I do have some things of value that I can share with you today. So let's get started. Okay, before I share the points with you today about homeschooling, I want to let you know that I'm going to be building on my first video that I have on my YouTube channel called How to Stay Sane and Create a Routine to Thrive with Your Family Through This Pandemic. So a lot of the material from that video and this video are really interlinked, but I will be building on some of the things that we talked about and then have a whole bunch of other things that I want to share today. One of the beauties of homeschooling is that you get to decide what it looks like. This is your creation. This is your family. I'm going to be sharing ideas with you of things that can work, and I'm going to share with you what we do. But your homeschool doesn't have to look like our homeschool. And actually, if it did, it would be silly to make it look exactly like our homeschool. Homeschooling is personal, and you are entitled to inspiration for your own family and for your own home. So I would challenge you to ask God and get His help, because He will know what the best thing would look like for your family. And also counsel with your family, counsel as a family, and make these decisions together as to what you want your environment to look like and be. It's personal. One of the most important things that you can do for yourself and for your kids right now is to center yourself. So I do this in my daily personal quiet morning routine. The reason why this is so important to do is because you are the greatest influencer of the environment of your home. So if you are snappy or short or commanding and controlling or sarcastic with your kids, then they are going to push back with the same energy that you give them. If you've ever learned about tornadoes, you know tornadoes are so chaotic and they're spinning so fast. But actually in the center of a tornado, the eye of the storm actually is calm and still. And so that is what we're going for. And especially right now, it's super important is to be able to, in the eye of a storm, with the chaos that's going on all around us and the chaos that we feel like we have in our homes with this being thrust upon us, that we can have that stillness and we can have that centeredness, so that no matter what chaos is going on around us, we can be still and we can be quiet and we can be centered. Okay, I've already shared with you what I do in my own personal morning quiet time routine, so we're not going to go over that again. But what I do want to talk a little bit more about today is kind of the meditation aspect of centering yourself and how powerful that can be. There is a really great meditation series on YouTube called Daily Calm, and there is one meditation called self-soothing. Self-soothing is actually a really great skill to have. When we learn to self-soothe, then we don't need to focus on outside things to soothe us. We can do it ourselves. If we don't know how to soothe ourselves, then we turn to things like vices and addictions. So we can soothe ourselves with food. We can soothe ourselves or be addicted to, alcohol to numb ourselves. We can soothe ourselves with painkillers when we're feeling in pain. You can soothe yourself with coffee when you feel like you need energy. You can soothe yourself with a cigarette when you just feel like you need to settle your nerves. So one of the simplest ways that we can learn to self-soothe is to just learn how to breathe. So a really simple breathing technique that I have learned is called Ha breathing, as Dr. Matt refers to it. And it's a really simple place to start. If you've never ever meditated before in your life, you can start with breathing. So a simple way to breathe is the Ha breathing. You breathe in through your nose and then you breathe out through your mouth. And when you breathe out through your mouth, you make a sound. Okay, so we're gonna try this. So I'm just gonna show you. Breathe in through your nose and Ha out. And again. And that is actually a really great thing to do. Close your eyes and do it. If you're in a place you're working with your kids and you feel like you're getting fired up and you need to breathe, you might not want to close your eyes, but you can just breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth and try that Ha breathing and just get yourself centered. Another thing that you can do to help center yourself in the morning or even through the day when you're feeling like you're getting to that point of irritation and you just need to stop and center again is a self-hug. And this is something that Renee Peterson has taught myself and my daughters. They are in her beautiful Inside Academy. It's a girls' academy. And she's a nurse and she teaches about a self-hug. So she teaches the girls to take one hand and put it under their armpit. If you can see me okay. And then the other hand, this is a self-hug, you put it around your shoulder. Okay? And you can breathe same way as I taught, breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. Another thing that you can do with the self-hug that she teaches is to just listen. Try to listen for your heartbeat and see if you can feel your heartbeat. The next part of this video, what I'm going to do is basically share with you what our schedule looks like for the day, what we do and why we do it. And then after that, I'm going to share some tips and just some little systems that I've developed over the years to help things to run smoothly. So we have decided as a family what time everybody's going to be up in the morning to prepare for the day. Everyone gets their, after that, everybody gets their personal morning responsibilities done. Before school starts, that includes eating breakfast. Well, actually in our home, it includes saying your prayers and reading your scriptures, eating your breakfast and cleaning up your breakfast, making your bed, tidying your room, getting dressed, and brushing your teeth. After that, we have a time of day that we start the school day, and we have just again decided that together in a family council. I talked about in my first video. Decided that together what time we start, and we are starting at 9:30. So when we start school, our first thing that we do is we call it morning devotion. So it's basically our school time, family time where we're all together, and so it looks like this. So the first thing we do is we have a song that we will do together. Our kids are learning the piano, so they take turns playing a song on the piano, and I will even take a turn because I'm trying to learn songs and get better on the piano. So one of us will play the piano, one of us will conduct the song, because I also am trying to teach the kids how to conduct music. So we do a song together. We have an opening prayer for the day to start our homeschool day. Then we either do a scripture together or we do something else called Strength of Youth. And that is basically just going through short principles that help to strengthen youth and just help with their building character. After that, we do something called Brain Gym, and I'll just quickly explain what it is. So Brain Gym are just some little exercises that you can do. They don't take very long, where basically you are waking up and stimulating both sides of the brain so that you can have optimal learning. If you want to learn more about that, you can put in the comments below, and I can get you some information on that, or the Strength of Youth even if you want. The next thing that we do is called Super Brain Yoga, and it's another quick activity that just kind of helps to wake up our bodies and stimulate our brains for the best kind of learning. And same thing, I can try to find some information on Super Brain Yoga if you'd like. Just let me know in comments below. Then we do either a 5-minute or a 10-minute meditation. So as of 2019, this past school year, our kids, I'm trying to get my kids to learn how to meditate. So we usually use guided meditations, and we just switch back and forth between 5-minute or 10-minute meditations, and we use guided meditations from YouTube. All right, after we're done our morning devotion, we do open reading time, or our younger boys will sometimes have what we call free playtime, where it's just like imaginative playtime or creative playtime. I really love it when, and kind of encourage creative play or free playtime. There's a lot of studies that have shown how great it is for the brain and how it can carry us as we become older, and just our levels of creativity and the things that we are able to do and produce as we're older. So when my kids want to do it, I count it as school time. When I want to encourage my kids to do reading time, one of the things that I've learned over the years that works really well is to, like if they're not in a reading mood, they don't want to, I honestly try not to force them to read, but I will invite them. And the way that I do it, that works almost every single time, is I will put books in the middle of the living room floor, like around or in the middle of our couch area, and just put them out in the middle of the floor for them to see. And they will come down and they'll, pick up a book and they'll flip it open, flip pages, and almost every single time, without me forcing, they will just come and they'll start flipping and looking and then sitting and reading. It works like a charm. So if you have books that are in your house, honestly, it works so great to just invite and encourage without forcing kids to read. Another great tool for reading time is if they're not old enough yet to be reading, is to read to them. So this open reading time for us is an encouraging, independent reading time. So I will actually sit and read, and that's another great way to invite your kids to read, is if they see you reading, then it will show them and invite them to want to read too. So just some tips and things that you can do rather than forcing is either be reading and they see you reading, and that will encourage them to read, or to put the books in the middle of your floor, put out a bunch of books that you think that they might be interested in picking up, things that they're interested in, that can encourage them, or sitting down and actually reading to them. That's another great way that has worked in our family. Okay, after we do our open reading or free play time, then we do our exercise time, and that usually coincides with outside time. So we try to do that together. Again, we do about 30 minutes of exercise time. The reason that we do our exercise time before we do kind of our sit down schoolwork time is that doing that movement, getting the exercise, so going outside, getting the fresh air, doing the exercise, getting the blood flowing in our body, our muscles, getting oxygen and blood up to our brains, just kind of helps to wake up our brains, getting our bodies prepared for learning. Any kind of movement doing, so, running, walking, crossing the midline, playing soccer, jumping on the trampoline, crossing the midline, doing that kind of active movement actually helps to, again, as I was talking with the brain gym, is to get the left side and the right side of the brain to wake up and actually to work together. So it really creates kind of an optimal learning condition and wakes your brain up and prepares it to be able to focus and prepares your body and your brain to be able to for that learning time. So that's why we do that before we start our schoolwork. One last thing that could be done during morning devotion is a quick planning meeting for the day, just to kind of talk about assignments that might be due for that day for individual children, for any online classes that are happening, what time they're happening at, who's going to be using what computer, who's using, like, how many webcam computers you have, and who's going to be using what at what time. So just basically making sure to schedule that every day, because I know families that have multiple children, it's like almost a scheduling nightmare. So organizing that in quickly in the morning during your morning devotion. After we finish our outside time and exercise time, then we get down to our independent or individual work for the kids. So I usually have our kids write down their plan for the day. So one of the things that this really helps with, and as I've been, doing this for 14 years, I've seen how this has helped my kids basically to be self-motivated and to become independent learners. It's helped my kids to be able, it's basically developing the life skill of being able to set a goal, work through the goal, and then accomplish a goal. So they make a plan, work through the plan, finish the plan. I made up these sheets several years ago. You don't have to have sheets like these. You could just have the kids write down on a lined piece of paper. So I have the date, and then there's their exercise, what they're going to be doing for exercise that day, because that's part of school is exercising. And then what they plan to do with that day, assignments that they have, or what subjects they're going to be working on, or things that they plan to do. And then over here, they check off when they have those things done. So you can see right there, they make their plan, then they work through it, and then they finish their plan.